Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Late Friday night, just some wild news coming out for the Miami Hurricane fans as former Wisconsin defensive back Xavier Lucas withdrawing from Wisconsin, going to be enrolling with the Miami Hurricanes, and it sounds like he's going to be playing football for the Miami Hurricanes going into 2025. Now, if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, checking this episode out late Friday night, you guys probably know the situation that was playing out. Xavier Lucas played very good football, and we're going to get into it at Wisconsin as a true freshman, filed his paperwork to hit the transfer portal in late December. Wisconsin was not processing that paperwork, basically not letting him enter the transfer portal. It sounds like Xavier Lucas just took matters into his own hands. And look, I ain't no legal god, fail out of law school real quick. But at the end of the day, the news here is Xavier Lucas sounds like he's going to be playing football for the Miami Hurricanes in 2025. This is massive news for Miami. This was a kid they loved in the 2024 class, did everything they could to get him to Miami out of that 2024 class. He ends up going to Wisconsin, plays some damn good football for a true freshman up there in Madison. Now he's coming to Miami, and I think one of the most intriguing storylines here is what position is Xavier Lucas going to play? We kind of thought this kid was a safety prospect coming out of high school, plays the boundary cornerback spot for Wisconsin in 2024, starts the last game of the 2024 season as a true freshman, played incredibly well against Nebraska. You look at Miami, and we're going to pull up the depth chart in just a second and kind of talk about where he fits in. If I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, I look at that safety position and say that's probably the spot where you would like to add another body. That's where I think Xavier Lucas can come in and slot in and play at a high level for Miami. And what I love about Xavier Lucas is, hey, he just played boundary cornerback for Wisconsin all of 2024. So we getting a safety that not only is 6'2", 200 pounds, runs an 11-second 100-meter coming out of high school, very gifted physically kid, but a guy that we know can hold up in a little bit of man coverage, which was a massive problem for the Miami Hurricane safeties going back to the 2024 year. Any way you cut it, whether he plays boundary cornerback, whether he plays safety, this is a massive addition to a position group that Miami really wanted to address. And I give Mario Cristobal so much credit. They went in with one clear goal when they went into the transfer portal, and that is we got to get this secondary from a personnel standpoint. We got to get it right. And we talked about Lance Guidry, and we talked about how poor this defense looked in 2024, and a lot of that falls on Lance Guidry. But at the end of the day, we knew that the personnel on the back end for the Miami Hurricanes just wasn't good enough. You look at what it looks like going into 2025, they have addressed that position in a meaningful way, and I don't think it's crazy to say this might be a strong suit for the Miami Hurricanes going into the 2025 year. Massive news for the Canes. We're going to get into Xavier Lucas. I want to talk a little bit about what we saw from him up there in the Big Ten as a true freshman. Before we get into it, as always, to the Miami Hurricane fans, appreciate you guys. It's been a really fun last couple of days to talk this program, right? Carson Beck coming to Miami, Corey Heatherman getting hired as a DC. We got a couple other position coach jobs that we have to talk about as well. I've been having a blast. The amount of support y'all continue to show, whether we're talking Carson Beck, whether we're talking Corey Heatherman, it's been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Xavier Lucas. And again, this is a kid that Miami knows quite well. Did everything they could to get him to stay home in South Florida coming out of high school. You go to his true freshman year, couple of things jump out. One, played a lot of football as a true freshman, over 200 snaps. Played 60 snaps in his last game for this Wisconsin team in 2024. Take a look at some of the numbers. 18 tackles, 1 interception, was targeted 19 times, only gave up 9 catches, 47% completion percentage when targeted, 6.3% missed tackle rate. This dude did not miss many tackles in his small sample size as a true freshman. Xavier Lucas is checking all the boxes. And so what I think so fascinating here, if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, is one, you're getting a quality football player that has played some football and shown that he's a good football player at the collegiate level in the Big Ten. But you're also getting a guy that's only going into year 2. Probably only getting better as a football player and potentially going to be playing a little bit more in position for the Miami Hurricanes in 2025 at that safety spot. He's big, 6'2", 200 pounds. He can come up into the box and give run support. He's got some really nice long speed to go with that 6'2" frame, so he can play a little cover one safety, that center field role where you're covering a lot of ground making plays on the football. And again, most importantly, this dude played a lot of boundary quarterback for Wisconsin in 2024. We know that if we need our safeties to play some man coverage, Xavier Lucas, he can do so. And that was a massive problem for guys like Jaden Harris last year. Like if these safeties had to play man coverage, was not going very well for Miami. Xavier Lucas checks all the boxes, and he's only getting better as a football player. Want to take a look at this depth chart real quick and just kind of talk about how we expect it to shake out for Miami. Again, the thing you're going to notice right off the bat, I got to center this step chart here real quick. Thing you're going to see right away, where's all the red? Where are all the transfer portal additions? They're in the secondary. You knew you had a guy with O.J. Frederick. Outside of O.J. Frederick, I'm not sure how many other defensive backs that you trusted for this Miami Hurricanes team. Manuel Carnley, Charles Brantley, Ethan O'Connor, 3 cornerbacks that were top 15 in the country in the transfer portal. You go get Zachariah Poyser, the number 2 safety in the portal. Now you add Xavier Lucas. Now, the reason I think that he should play safety is, one, I do think from just a player standpoint, I think that's where he probably slots in best. But I also think from a depth chart standpoint, this is where Miami needs another body. We know we got to do with Zachariah Poyser. We think we might have a guy with Zaquan Patterson. Yes, was he probably not quite ready to play as a freshman? Probably fair to say. But we're pretty confident that he can be a contributor going into year 2. You go get Xavier Lucas, that's 3 safeties that we feel pretty good about going into the 2025 year, along with 4 cornerbacks that we feel really good about. I mean, going back to last year, we felt really good about a lot of portions of this Miami Hurricanes roster in the secondary. There was barely any names that we really trusted. And towards the end of the season, it was pretty much only O.J. Frederick. Now you look at it and say, we've completely revamped this Miami Hurricane secondary. Now we have a defensive coordinator in Corey Heatherman, who I know knows how to teach some zone coverage in the back end. This defense, it's not crazy to see this defense take a massive step in the right direction because they fixed the 2 glaring problems that you had on defense. One, from a personnel standpoint, we weren't good enough in the secondary. We look pretty damn good there now. And then secondly, Lance Guidry just had this defense lost, for lack of better terms. You're bringing Corey Heatherman, a guy that did a very good job with Minnesota last year. It's hard to not see this defense take a massive step in the right direction. And although the offense might not put up the crazy numbers that they did with Cam Ward last year, I think we all feel pretty good about Carson Beck with the strong run game being a pretty good offense. It's going to be fun to see what the Miami Hurricanes can do in the 2025 season. Xavier Lucas, young ball player that showed that he can play, is only getting better as a football player, taking matters into his own hands, say, hey, I want to go back home to Sunshine State. Ain't nothing going to stop me. All right, we'll pause it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.